Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Devil's Theatre. Seems like ages ago, doesn't it? Episode since we didn't laugh.
Yeah, it's been a week. I mean, we were going to do one after the Bucharest game, but then obviously transfer deadline day, and it just made sense to sort of pile it all into one.
Transfer deadline day, and we knew there was going to be something going on at the game against Palace.
Yeah,
I
we,
think
we knew some bungay had happened.
we knew it wasn't going to be a straightforward. So I thought, yeah, I think we decided let's wait until the
Should we
games
start
until.
there? Because I can't remember the Bucharest game, I'll be honest with you, bro.
Well, we won that game. Let's start there.
I know we won, but I can't remember what happened.
I think we didn't play too bad actually. I think there was kind of some signs of us playing decent in that game, and I'm never going to say it looks promising because with this club, you bloody never know on
Okay,
what's
we
going to
won 2
happen.
0
Yeah, we won 2-0. Kobe mainly scored. Delo scored. Our strikers. And that
Bayern
scored.
played.
Yeah, he played.
I feel like Toby Collier had a really good game.
Yeah, he played well.
Yeah, okay.
There weren't many who didn't play
I
well. Obviously,
sort of remember the game then.
Tyrell Malacia played in that game as well. Then again, poor lad hooked up at half time.
That was his swan song.
Yeah, obviously looks like he's going to PSV or he has gone. I'm still waiting for it to be confirmed. I've not heard it, but yeah, and moving on to the Palace game, I think we were talking about different players playing. Obviously, Kobe Manu played up in the number 10. So he's in a forward role a bit more with Ericsson, and obviously what you call it played a bit further back Bruno with
So was
Toby
he in the
Collier.
10 or the 9? Because
He was in the 10.
I looked at it as though he was a false 9 because he was the furthest
No,
forward
no,
of the
no, no, no,
three.
not Palace, not Palace, Bucharest.
Oh, okay, right, yeah, Bucharest.
Bucharest.
Okay,
So
yeah, he was in the 10.
Bucharest, he played in the 10. Bruno played behind. So up front we had Rasmus Højlund. Obviously the poor lad, he didn't get his goal. Obviously, I think this is what by that point I think
14
he's one in
games now.
13, one in 14, and very similar for Xerxes as well. So yeah, he hadn't played. Kobe played well in that game against Bucharest and he scored his goal, like I said. So then come against Palace, it was no strikers at all. So straight away we all thought, yeah, obviously false number 9, and it's going to be Bruno who's going to play that false number 9. But it actually was Colby Mainey who played up front, or should I say, in that false 9.
Yeah, we'll break this one down properly because I can actually remember what happened. Now, for me personally, I thought it was a very odd thing. I mean, look, I've been saying it for weeks now. This season feels like Jose season 3 to me.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Jose left everyone on the bench? And he said in the press conference that he needed reinforcements.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get Maguire when he wanted Maguire, and I can't remember who he put as centre back, probably like Carrick or someone daft. I can't remember that game, but that was basically the scenario.
Yeah.
And he had his new signings in Fred, in like basically everyone they got him just sat on the bench, and he left them there to make a point. I felt like that's what Amorim was doing here. When they lined up and they're on the pitch and they're in formation and Kobe's the furthest forward, I was a bit confused.
Yeah, I think
like,
you
what's
was
going on?
Yeah, you was of the opinion of obviously he's sending a message to the board. For me, it could have been that.
Was left on red apparently.
Yeah,
it was left on red apparently.
On red.
Yeah, the message that he sent to the board was left on red.
Okay, yeah.
You just got 2 blue ticks in it, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, it was to me. He may have been, trying to work out a formation. If he was trying to send a message, I would hope he'd have done that earlier on with leaving Rasmus and the guys off. Not playing them. I don't think he should have left it till the penultimate game before the transfer window closes if he wanted to send that message. But maybe he thought at that point he was going to get another striker, and on Sunday he kind of found out he wasn't. So he made that point, and yeah, we lost as we did, and obviously we know that on Friday we were quite heavily linked with Tell. because he did rejected Tottenham, so it was automatically thought, well, he's going to come here because that was the reports
Well, yeah, the news was he rejected Tottenham because he wanted United.
to come here. Yeah. But yeah, that quite didn't work out. And the funny thing is, if we do go with the way of saying it was a message to the board, it's quite troubling if already he's sending messages to the board. I don't think it's even been 8 weeks in and around he's been at the club, but he's sending those kind of messages.
Yeah, I think it's about somewhere like I think it's either just gone 3 months or I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's around October, November time. But yeah, if he's already doing that's quite worrying. Obviously, we got numerous of let's start with the Palace game again. Just let's finish up on that. Obviously, the first 15 minutes looked good. It looked okay, but we've seen that so many times, even under Eric Ten Hag. If you go back to the first game of the season, the first game against Palace, in the first half, we battered them. I think we hit the crossbar about 2-3 times in that game. I remember, but we still come away with a draw. We didn't.
For me, I thought again, like you, I thought we started really well, and early signs of the false nine with Kobe in that position, I was like, you know what, he might have actually done something here. And I thought, okay, Kobe seems to be like, he's not getting in anyone's way. He knows where to make the runs and whatnot. But as the game went on, Jedi, he just looked lost.
Yeah.
Like, he was making runs. So Dalot had it on the left-hand side, and everyone's having a go at Dalot for this, for the ball he played. But Kobe should have been the other side of him. Kobe should have been on his inside, not his outside.
Okay.
Because why is Dalot going to cut inside and then give it to the false nine who's sitting wide?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he's not got the natural, like the instincts, I guess, of a striker. And then even when that ball fizzed in and nobody was on it in the 6-yard box, Højlund or Xerxes, they're trying to stick a toe in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I felt sorry for Kobe, because if it is a thing of Ruben was trying to prove a point, has he inadvertently just scapegoated Kobe Mainoo? I hope not. But that's sort of, if you go down that route of he was trying to make a point, that's kind of how it seems. But
yeah. Absal, 2 seconds. We're very live, man. 2 seconds. I just gotta jump off 2 seconds, but I will be back. But obviously, yeah, if you just have just go over obviously with the transfer window and just think, what we should have done and what's happening. And I think we will come back on to some of the tweets that we've seen out there that we have been reacting to recently. But yeah, just give me 2 seconds, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. As Harp said, we're running it live. But look, for me personally, this is just my view again, guys. Look, feel free to drop your own points of view in the comments, but something doesn't seem right with Manchester United this season, nor has it for a long time. But in particular, I'm like, this is Jose season 3. He's trying to prove a point with the transfers, and, as Harp said, we'll move on to the transfers now. And if we look at the transfer window, we got in Patrick Dorgu, who nobody knew anything about. About 24 hours before we signed him, everyone seemed to be experts in him. Then you've got the kid from Arsenal, Aiden Heaven, that's the one. You've got Aiden Heaven that come in from Arsenal for about 1.5 million, I believe, 18 years old. And it was said that, well, I saw just a rumour from that Academy Scoop kid that Heaven was being bought in for the first team. And I was a bit concerned because I thought, 18 years old, it's not like he's playing alongside Saliba and Gabriel for Arsenal. It's, he's not pulling up trees anywhere. And then upon doing some research, because I thought I want to try and find out, it looks as though he got 10 minutes at the end of a Carabao Cup game or something. So on reflection, his only senior football we can see is 10 minutes of football in a Carabao Cup game, in which we're kind of like, what we're doing with ourselves. You know, like, is this really what we're like basing the the talent or the potential of a young player on? Unless we've been sat in Arsenal's training ground watching him and sat at all the youth games watching him, I don't know. But then Jason Wilcox comes out and he confirms exactly what Academy Scoop said, in that this is going to be a signing for the first team. And then you think, all right, cool. We still got our three, De Ligt, Euro, Maguire, Leacher. They sort of rotate and form the three. We've got Evans to jump in if he needs be, if needs be. And then on Sunday, unfortunately, Leacher went down with an injury. It looked like there was very little contact, so it's probably the way he landed or the way he twisted or something like that. And yeah, it comes out he's torn his ACL. I think for the second time now. So it's kind of, I mean, his season's over. I'd go as far as saying he's not going to play football for the rest of the calendar year. And it leaves Man United in a bit of a shit situation, because we've got to kind of, how do we say this? Basically, we've got two kids to coach through the football games. You've got Lenny Euro, who, young kid, yeah, he had about 18 months of senior football before we signed him, and he looked very promising. And, the likes of Madrid, PSG, all the big boys wanted him. We got him in the end. Everyone knows my thoughts on that. I'm not going to, I've said what I've said enough times. But then you've also got Aiden Heaven. Now, it's one thing for the likes of Leacher and Maguire and De Ligt to be lined up next to Euro in that back three, and it's one thing for them to coach the young Euro through a game, and, you need to go there, you need to stand, coach him through it, help him through it, at times, because youngsters need that sort of, they need that assistance, right? They need that guidance on the pitch. It's another thing entirely if you're going to start both of them together, which in some games we may have to. We don't know. We are threadbare at the minute. Another injury, and we might be seeing Euro and Heaven play together. So then I'd assume Heaven on the left, Euro on the right, Maguire, De Ligt, or Evans in the middle. It's an enormous responsibility to coach one youngster through a game in 90 minutes for one person. It's okay for two people to do it, right? Because you can kind of bounce off each other and instructions and whatnot. And obviously you got the goalkeeper behind you. But for one centre-back, the likes of a Maguire or an Evans or, De Ligt to coach two young centre-backs through a game is just, it's worrying, because Evans is, he was great for Man United. He was a fan favourite, a cult hero, some would say. He's deeply rooted in the institution that is Manchester United. But he's also old. He's also lost a lot of pace. He ain't ever, do you know what I mean? He can't coach in terms of knowledge, yes, but in terms of what he can physically bring to the pitch, he can't coach them two through that game. Maguire, maybe I have my doubts. Like, Maguire's very hot and cold. He had a shocking game at Palace, but then he'll give you a 9 out of 10 in 3 weeks' time. He's not consistent enough to help two guys at the same time. Then you've got Matthijs de Ligt, who looks to be one of our better centre-backs. But again, he seems to have a moment in him, and it's like, how do you get around this problem whereby potentially two of your three centre-backs that are going to be starting are young kids? It's a really, really tough ask. And it's just, it doesn't make much sense. But, that's the world of Manchester United. And then you've got, obviously, Patrick Dorgu, left wing back, or left wing, whatever position he plays. We got him for, I believe, 30 million. And then We also had, he had a final game at Lecce, and then he came in at United, and he's here now. He's going to wear the number 13, and you just think, well, okay, he fits in on the left, which is great. That's fine, but how does that help us? What does he do? I saw a tweet earlier about it, and I'll mention it when Harps gets back. But his goals and assists aren't exactly. It's not what the Leverkusen guys were doing for Alonso last season. Was it Frimpong and Grimaldo? They were, double figures for goals and assists. He's not pulling up them numbers. So what exactly does he offer to the team? And then we were linked with Matthias Tell or whatever his name is. This is a bit strange. Yo.
Sorry.
You good? No,
yeah,
good?
Man. Yeah. Really
I was just ranting about Aiden Heaven.
Oh, but poor lad. I feel sorry for him.
Actually, yeah. You know what? Yeah, let's rewind. So they've already heard what I've had to say. But I went into it from the injury to Leicester.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bad one.
He's now first team.
Yeah, and you know what the funny thing is, a lot of people were complaining about Leicester as well.
I thought he was just getting back to his best.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. If you look back at some of the games he's played recently, obviously the Fulham goal. There's some the game against City sticks out when he passes that ball to Ahmad.
Yeah, plays that ball over the top.
There's another one as well. I can't remember who he was against, but he breaks the lines from the back with his passing. Now, there's no other defender of ours that does the same thing. But more than anything else, I think if you read what Amorim said about him as well, he was just saying, how he's a leader within the dressing room as well. Obviously, we've heard so many people complaining about this, and I think it's I think it's a nice segue, to move on to this. But what we were talking about before, Afsar, about some of the tweets of what some people are putting out. But I
found
think,
another one.
Well, before we get to that one, I think with the Leicester one, I think more than just on the field, like you said, he was finding his game. I think in the dressing room, I think on the pitch, he has that devilment. That game against Fulham, what he created against with Adama Traore.
He's always had that passion, that energy, and I think that's probably just like a South American way of life because they're all like that.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget we've got Garnacho. He's not quite the same, but we have Ugarte, who is very, very.
He's got that dog in him. He's got it in him.
But Leach is Leach. I mean, he's just next level. Should we start on the tweet? Because I think it's unless you got anything else that you want to cover.
No, I mean, what I was saying to these guys was obviously my concern with the whole Aiden Heaven thing being that Wilcox confirmed he was signing for the first team is great until Leicester goes down injured.
Yeah.
Because my main concern is you've gone from having to coach and guide one youngster in any Euro through a game to now having to coach and guide potentially two at one time. And you look at Evans, okay, he's got the knowledge. Has he got the physical?
I don't know. No, he's still at the club. Not seen him for ages.
This is what I mean. Maguire, has he got the skills to be able to coach two people at once? Especially Marshall in a back line and all that sort of stuff. De Ligt, God knows about De Ligt as well. Like, there's just so many unknowns and so many question marks. As I pointed out in the group, this kid has had 10 minutes of senior football.
Yeah, I think it's going to be unfair on him if we expect loads, and I know what our fan base is like. But not only do we know what our fan base is like, we also know obviously what some of our ex-players and pundits are like as well. So there's a post by Santan Dave, got there in the end. Santan,
rapper,
yeah, I think he's a rapper.
Yeah, he's a rapper.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
God, you're showing your age now, bro.
Yeah, all I remember is a fellow brother who kind of thought Qatar was done.
Yeah,
That's what I remember him.
that's the one.
Obviously, the likes of Rio and things like that. So yeah, let me just read out the tweet. It was back in a couple of days ago. When I say back in, it's almost like 2, 3 years ago. But yeah, it was a couple of days ago where he's put such a dark, negative energy around Man United, deeper than football. As long as the Glazers are in power, we will never know peace. So-called club legends using nostalgia and bullying players who have had to play under situations that they have never been exposed to or understood. Um, for their own personal giving, that is. I see through it now. I don't feel much when Man United play. The soul of the team is gone. It's all so strange. Open heart surgery, but our surgeons are crack addicts. We turn on our best players, replace them with worse. Cycle repeats.
Yeah,
So I think essentially what Santon is saying here is we've got the likes of Rio, Gary Neville, Roy Keane's probably the one gets a lot of eyes on him.
Schmeichel.
Um, Paul Scholes, Schmeichel, all these ex-players. No, I've never had an issue with them because I get where they're coming from. They can only talk about their own experiences. However, yeah, like Santan says, you didn't have to deal with what these players of today have to deal with this ownership
They were
of
sheltered a lot by Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill.
mm,
From, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's that famous story of Rio Ferdinand getting told they weren't renewing his contract in the tunnel by Ed Woodward.
yeah,
So Rio didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to the fans. But by and large, they'd all left the club by the time it fell apart.
yeah, yeah. I
So
think I think
I
I
get
think we
what you're saying in that sense.
yeah, I think we're talking about things off the field, behind the scenes. We've spoken before where bloody Zlatan Ibrahimovic is looks at his bank account or his pay slip and he's deducted a couple of quid because he had a bottle of a drink, something of that nature. You know the Cristiano Ronaldo needing to work, but he needed to in the pool area or something like that. He needed the pool, but they couldn't open the pool area because it was after hours and it was cost too much money. You hear obviously all the cutbacks that obviously Ratcliffe's done. Bruno, wanted to pay for the staff to come to the FA Cup final, and they wouldn't allow him to do that.
They wanted to buy the
So
staff gifts for Christmas as well, and they wouldn't allow
yeah,
them to do that either.
yeah, yeah. We hear all these things. Um, yeah. And like we say, we know that they're not bringing the great. Again, I have this argument about players, and I'm not too sure whether it's just the players. You know, the players might not be good enough, but we talk about the managers as well. Um, are the managers good enough? We don't know. I mean, we've had some great managers. Jose Mourinho isn't my cup of tea, but I know he's a good manager because
Louis Van
he'd
Gaal.
won he'd won everywhere before he came to United. Louis Van Gaal, obviously does well everywhere he goes, but
Eric
you
Ten
know,
Hag, up and coming.
you
Fancy
know,
philosophy, fancy style of play.
yeah. So I mean, it's all well and good these ex-players talking about it, but like you said, Santan probably he's probably close to somebody like Marcus Rashford. Probably gets to see a lot of things that we're not privy to, and that's probably where he's coming from. Because we think it's a we think it's a sad state of affairs where Marcus Rashford has to go to somewhere like Aston Villa. Historically isn't as big as Manchester United in any capacity, but he's having to go there to revive his career.
But
Whereas
he's
we've
also
had
having to go there, and it's being seen as a step up because they're in the Champions League,
yeah,
which shows you just how far down we are the pecking order.
step up in the Champions League. They're above us in the league as well. It's just, you can see where it's coming from. And then the reason why we then talk about, the ownership is because nothing has bloody changed. You know, was again in the messages in the group messages today, earlier on. our good old friend Tej, he put in there, I'm not too bothered where we finish in the league. We just need 2 more points. No, sorry, to win 2 more games, and we're safe. Meaning not going to get relegated. It's all about the FA Cup and the Europa League. And we thought,
This is
bloody
the
hell.
same Ted who went on Talksport right after we won the FA Cup and said Eric Ten Hag out.
Yeah, after an FA Cup win. But it's like, wow,
No
how
comment.
far have we fallen? Where in 2025 we're saying 2 more wins, we are safe. League position doesn't matter. Um, Europa League
But why did the
and
league position then matter under Eric Ten Hag? Why did it matter under Jose Mourinho? Why did it matter? Do you know what I mean? Like, and we are going to try and get Phil back on because this is one thing Phil said. Everyone should be
Phil
held.
Brown.
Yeah, Phil Brown.
Yeah.
Everyone should be held to the same standards, from ownership to players to money, everyone. And I'd even brush the fans with that as well, because fans have come out with some wild shit in the last couple of days. Like, I'm seeing fans have a go at Crystal Palace's admin team for posting, "Oh, we've won this many games in a row against Man United," and it's like, and they're like, "Oh, this is your cup final. You've not won trophies," and I'm like, "Yeah, but what do you not understand? They beat us. They can do this now. We did this for 20 odd years. You did it a lot longer than me, but we were these people to them, to rival fans."
Look, we're a massive club, and when these clubs beat us, obviously, they're gonna have their pop, and I don't begrudge them. Do you know what
I
I
don't
mean?
blame them for doing it.
I mean,
You
I mean
milk
that.
it. You get all the interactions you can get.
Yeah, the day that stops happening, then that means we're irrelevant. So
It's just funny that United fans get so wound up about it, and I'm like, yeah, but they beat us. What did you expect? They weren't going
yeah,
to go quietly into the night.
yeah, and just going off on the Santander one, we've got another tweet as well, which is it was from the Sky Sports Premier League. Leo
Is that Saturday social
Bozzi,
show or something?
Bozzi. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw the tweet really yesterday, and I watched the video. And the tweet is, I think there's much bigger issues than Ruben Amorim. He's a Man United fan and he's frustrated, and he's saying, the Manchester United fans are misguided, and I absolutely agree with him on this in terms of Amorim. We've spoken about it before. Uh,
We've done
I'm
it to death,
conflicted.
bro.
Yeah, I'm very conflicted. But you know what? It's good that at least people are now talking about it a little bit more in the mainstream, because before I don't think it was as mentioned before. But 2 things really. If you're gonna, like we said, same standards. If you're gonna moan about Eric Ten Hag not getting the results, then we've got to talk about Amorim not getting the results as well, because essentially that's what he was brought in to do, to get
Yeah.
results, get us playing better, get players playing better, but he hasn't. I mean, you could argue Ahmad, but I think Ahmad played well under Eric Ten Hag, and for whatever reason, he never used to play him as much. I don't know. Some people mentioned Ugarte. I think Ugarte was getting obviously there, but I still wouldn't say Ugarte is playing great.
But could you say that he's actually playing better under Amorim? Because, like, when he was playing under Ten Hag, he was still just settling in. Like,
Yeah, that's what I
it
mean.
takes time to adjust to the Premier League and obviously British culture and British weather and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. But for fans to call out Amorim out already, I think is very silly. Very silly. Because again, it's a bit like when we talked about Eddie Ten Hag. We didn't feel sorry for him when he got sacked, because it was his own fault for actually renewing that contract, because we all knew it weren't going to last for very long. Maybe he knew as well. Maybe he knew what he was doing. Maybe that was his 2 fingers by extending the contract. Well, when we say extending, that continue with that extension, that
He
1 year
just
extension.
secured himself a new house in the Netherlands.
He secured himself a few million, and thought, F you. Maybe he knew the PSR was that bad. So he thought, you know what? Yeah, if they are going to sack me, it's going to be even worse. So maybe that was his 2 fingers up at INEOS, getting them done where they're done. But yeah, it's so crazy. But like, how are we expecting Amorim to change the way he plays? He bought in for playing the way he plays. He plays his 3-4-3. That's what he's been successful. That's what he brings. Do you know what I mean? You can't now expect him to play something totally different and get miraculous results. Do you know what I mean? That bit I stick with him. But the thing is, when people are saying, "Oh, he hasn't got his own players," well, or he's come mid-season. He didn't want to come mid-season. He wanted to come at the end of the year, so it's not his fault. Well, you just said it's his fault. He should have said no. He's a
He
young
should have
guy.
stood his ground.
Yeah, he's a young guy. He's 40. If he didn't get Man United, he'd have got another big club because he was linked to other big clubs as well. So he should have just stayed
He had about
patient.
three Premier League interviews in the summer.
Yeah. So I don't feel sorry for him in that respect. He did himself say these players, and he did think himself he could do better with these players. He said that himself. Okay, so he should have done better because he said that himself as well. This tagline that he's used very often was there's going to be lots of bumps in the road, or there's going to be a lot of pain.
That there's going to be a storm or whatever before it gets better.
Yeah. No, I wish every manager would say that because mate, it gets them off the hook.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
a lot of these fans are, oh, yeah, but he said it's going to be a lot of pain. It's going to be, mate. I
at
wish
least
I
he's
could
been
go.
honest.
Yeah, and well, when you're being honest, I mean, if I went into a new job and said, you know what, I'm starting, yeah, it's going to be a lot of pain. This is because, starting a new job. I don't know other people, but you got to find out my ways and this, that. It's going to be a lot of pain. Then we're like, fuck off, mate. Do you know
So
what
I
I mean?
shouldn't say that when I start my new job, yeah?
Well, yeah, just to hint, don't say that.
Yeah.
You won't even be offered the role. But just imagine saying there's going to be a lot of pain. I get the fact that you say, it's not going to be smooth sailing, but you can't keep relying on there's going to be a lot of pain
I
because
think the reason he said it is to sort of, and from his perspective, I'm going to say I think this is naive of him to say this, because I think the manner in which he said it is to sort of try and dampen expectations from the fan
yeah,
base.
yeah,
But
100%.
he should know this fan base doesn't dampen anything.
Look,
They
I think
ramp up.
yeah, I think in his first couple of months, I think that's fair enough, and he said it. But there has to be, you have to see things. Okay, when he said you'll see an idea, I get the idea. You're playing 3-4-3. That's the formation, and I do get it does change in and out of position. So I'm not so fixated on this 3-4-3, and he needs to be doing this, he needs to be doing that because it does change. But because he's
Well, at
doubled
points
down on it
against
so much.
Palace, Bruno was one of the centre backs,
Well, yeah.
which I just found so bizarre because he's your most creative player in the team.
But I'm using his words, So when he's saying no, I'm not going to change. No, I'm not going to change. No, I'm not going to change, and he's doubling down. Well, then I have to go on that basis, So if he's saying he's not going to change and he's not getting the results, well, then he has to take criticism.
Yeah.
He can't not take criticism. And
See,
again,
that thing about not going to change, that, as you know, that's a big issue for me because, look, you're bought in for this fancy 3-4-3 bollocks or whatever it is. But if you are not getting results at this current moment in time, and football is results business, correct?
Mhm.
Football's about wins and losses, trophies and championships. We are currently not getting any results. We're currently not getting any trophies, certainly not any championships. So, I'm trying to, in a football sphere, how do you change? The most you can do, instead of a 3-4-3, is you make it a 5-2-3. You add a bit of defensive stability in there. You drop the wing backs slightly deeper into your own half. I'm not the football wizard. I just play Football Manager. Do you know what I mean? That's my thing, but that's the only way I can think around it. But there's got to be something he can do or something he can try. Flipping stick ball strikers up top. Go with two up top.
I think also even within his name, it says obviously coach. We go back. We spoke about earlier about the strikers not scoring the goals. Now that's got to be part of his job role as a coach to make the players better. I get that these players aren't for his system. That's what gets said, and that's what Dorgu's been brought in, and I don't know how some people actually think he's just going to change our season. I don't get it, but
We'll come on
hopefully
to
he
that in a
does.
second. Got a tweet about it.
Yeah, and well, just bring it up now. Just talk about it now.
1 second. So the tweet, and I responded to this morning. Tweets from Beth. Sadly Beth.
Okay.
United stand.
Oh, okay.
So the tweet reads, most assists in Ruben Amorim's Sporting side 23-24 was Nuno Santos.
Mm-hmm.
Position, left wing back, 50 games, 6 goals, 18 assists. United this season under Amorim, Dalot, 1 goal, no assists. Mazraoui, 0 goals, 1 assist. And then she says, Dorgu is, brackets, hopefully, going to be a huge help. My reply was, how have you started the comparison with Nuno and then ended it by saying Dorgu's going to help us without mentioning Dorgu's stats? Because if you look at Dorgu's stats,
I was going to say, have you got your stats? Yeah,
they're flipping, bro. They're dreadful. I had a look at it when we were signing him. Let me go on transfer market.
Yeah, because it's quite funny. I think Lecce are 18th when he left.
They were 1 point above relegation. They're struggling to score. They're struggling to keep a clean sheet, which is, surprise, surprise, the same shit we're doing. And he's expected to help.
Yeah.
Like, we would have had more sense going getting Sergio Ramos. But he's just gone to Mexico.
Yeah.
Patrick Dorgu, 1 second. I'll find it.
You're bringing him up. I don't think Dorgu's going to be the answer because I think we've seen plenty of clips and we've heard plenty of things as well. Unfortunately for the lad, it's not going to be. And I feel sorry for him in a way because he's going to have so much expectation on him. So much expectation.
Okay, so in 120 games, he's given 12 assists.
In 120 games.
That's 1 every 10.
10, yeah.
We've probably got about 20 games left.
So give 2.
Yay, we're getting 2 assists.
Yeah. Like I said, he's a young lad. He's coming to a new league.
Oh my God, he's played everywhere.
Yeah, I think from what I understand, he's more of a right wing back than a left wing back.
He's played left back. He's played 72 times at left back, 6 assists, 2 goals. Left midfield, he's played 15 times, got 3 assists. Right wing, 11 times, 3 assists. Left winger, right back, and right midfield are respectively 6 appearances, 3 appearances, 1 appearances. No goals, no assists. Yeah. So it's not positive.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, no need to look more into those ones because I think we get the picture. I don't think
he's
going to be
30 mil.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be the game changer in that respect. Look, after I mean, let's wrap it up. I mean, the transfer window's closed, so there's no more business being done.
I miss Ed Woodward, bro. Ed Woodward would have leaked that we were in talks for Victor Osimhen, right? It would have gone on to the 11th hour, and then just before we all go to bed, we would have got a here we go for like Andy Carroll or something. We would have at least had some excitement in our day. These idiots came out and went, oh, there's going to be no business today. United are calm about the situation.
Yeah, I think David Ornstein put a tweet out there. United are calm. This window is about sorting the house or something of that nature. Sorting the house out. And I did tweet, well, if this was sorting the house out, what the fuck were they doing in summer 2024 when they spent 200 million?
That was the engagement party.
Yeah, on a manager that they didn't even want. So, yeah, don't come to me now saying this is just putting their house in order. They're fucked up. Okay, let's be honest. They messed up so many times. I think we can go, repeat, rinse and repeat on what they've done. I think everybody will get bored of hearing it. So, yeah. So all these people, bear in mind, it's going to be a year now. Essentially, it's a year. All these people saying giving them a chance. No, fuck off.
We've given them a year.
Given them a year. Do you know what I mean? They've actually made us worse. Nothing in the Arsenal or other clubs shows that they are even capable of doing anything of any remote. Okay.
Question: you said they made us worse. Where did we finish under David Moyes? Was it 8th or 9th?
7th.
Okay, so it was better than I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we finished 8th under Erik ten Hag last year.
Technically, we're twice as bad as that year.
Yeah.
Like league wise.
bearing in mind, they were with us last year and we finished eighth. They won the FA Cup, fair play to them. But yeah, we was eighth, and then at the moment we're what 13th, are we?
Yeah, I don't know.
13th, 14th.
Yeah, 13th,
I've,
14th.
I've lost really. I don't care where we are no more. That's how bad it is. And yeah, I just yeah, look, it's on INEOS. I've seen so many times, read so many times, heard on Spaces so many times. Oh, it's the Glazers to blame. They're the ones who got us into this mess, this financial mess. You can't blame INEOS. No, you fucking idiots. We can blame INEOS because they threw them the lifeline. So when people are saying to me, "Oh yeah, once the Glazers are out, we just need them out," they could have gone. They could have gone if INEOS did
INEOS chose
not.
to keep them in.
They chose to keep them in. They did not throw them that lifeline. They would have gone. So don't come round to us and say to them, oh, it's because of the Glazers. Yes, it's because of the Glazers. They're the foundation. But these guys have made it worse. INEOS trying to think they can cut costs. Hardly put any, money into the infrastructure. Oh, they can't pay off the debt. Oh, why would they do that? It's not their majority. Exactly. Exactly. So, like I said, I'd love for somebody to come on to the show. Open invitation. Anyone come onto the show. Give me your reasons. Give me your reasons as why you're backing him up. Why you think this SJR investment was crucial, why it was needed, and the positives about it. Happy to have a conversation about that
I
because
love how they can spin anything into positive propaganda.
yeah, for the Indians. Because I tell you what, I bet you can't. I bet you can't because there is
It's
absolute.
like the thing that came out this morning about Mike Keegan said, and the way he wrote it was they considered cutting funding for the disabled supporters.
Yeah.
And I tweeted out, I think I put the fact that this bastard even considered this is a disgrace in itself.
Yeah.
That should be a non-negotiable. Like, you do not do that. Like, and even if you did do it, why put it out in the public? Billionaires are shady people. They've got to be to get to that level, right?
Can't tie all those guys in the band. Can't tie them all in the same brush. But look, like I said, let's end it there, I suppose. We've
Before we
got,
go,
yeah.
rate the transfer window out of 10.
Can we do minuses?
Fine. I was going to say 0, but cool.
Yeah, I think it's been abysmal, if I'm honest with you. Whatever rating that is, I don't know, but it's been abysmal. I feel sorry for Ruben Amorim. I'm of the camp he would have been assured he'd be backed. You got rid of Anthony, you got rid of Rashford. I purely think of Rashford is more because of obviously the fees that he was on. But because now all of a sudden, when they're doing this cost cutting, this PSI, he's now become a problem. All of a sudden, it was an issue for all these different managers that we never heard of in the past. Okay. But yeah, look, good luck to Marcus Rashford. We've
Hope
got a game.
it.
Yep, exactly. We've got a game on Friday. Predictions.
I thought
Leicester
the
FA
game
Cup.
was on Thursday.
No, it's Friday. Leicester.
Okay, well, I won't be able to watch that then because I'll be driving down south. Right. So it's Rude versus Ruben.
Yep.
The manager many wanted us to keep against the manager we got.
Yep.
Rude's not had a great time of it at Leicester right now. I know fans are turning against him. We should have enough to beat them. We should.
Yeah. I'm going with the United win. We're at home. Like kick off under the floodlights. Yeah, I'm quite positive. I'm positive on that game, but let's look at where we finish. Let's see where we finish because I'm not positive at the present moment in time. I think we'll stay up. I don't think we're going to get relegated just purely because teams
we
like
might
Leicester,
even get
Ipswich,
top off, bro. You never know.
Yeah, let's see. But yeah, again, thank everybody for listening in. Like I said, send in your questions. Open invitation. Come on to the podcast. Have an open conversation. Let me know what the positives are in INEOS are. Why it was such a great deal. Because I can't understand it. Many of us can't. So it'd be great to be educated on that. And yeah, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you.